Hi there folks, nothing fancy today, just a quick final thoughts video on Death Stranding, which I think I am finally done with. I finished the story a while ago, but I wanted to finish building the road, which I did just now. Gathering the materials was a huge hassle, and it basically turned the game into a truck simulator, which is fine, you know. Um, just going to take the right earphone so I can hear myself talk. I'm just going to complete what will be, I think, my last delivery. It's just to a distribution centre. And as you can see, the Timefall has done a number on my truck. And my final thoughts on the game. Yeah. Well, obviously I like it. I don't know if you can get your I remember once getting my stats up, but I don't remember how I did. um, hmm. Oh wait, no, that's fine. Anyway, I must have spent about 70 hours at this point in the game, and I've done a load of extra deliveries, but yeah, it's pretty good. Um, there's something about this loop that I find weirdly compelling, especially after having built the roads, and it's now not like an annoyingly difficult walking sim to get over rough terrain. And that was a fun part of the challenge for a bit, but the novelty quickly wore off. I kind of think they could have let us build roads and have vehicles earlier on. This is very much a Hideo Kojima game. It is peak Kojima. And I mean that for good and for ill. And I love Hideo Kojima's work, but I kind of think in this game, he could have done with someone to slap his hands away from the whiteboard or whatever he used to draw up plans and say, no, that's a bad idea. Not that anything in this game is strictly speaking a bad idea, but there's a lot to it that doesn't always complement each other. Like, you see that little yellow meter at the bottom left that I pointed to, despite the fact that you can't see me. Your boots have a health meter. I don't think that was really necessary. That's just one example. There is a lot to this game, and the story makes no sense, but I didn't expect it to. It's a Hideo Kojima game, and I love Hideo Kojima's imagination and the delightfully mad bastard that he is. But
looks good as new. My hands off.
Well, I said but. There isn't really a but there. I enjoyed the story, mad though it was. It's a really interesting world he's built here. There is a really good game in Death Stranding, but it really makes you work to get it. And I don't necessarily have a problem with that, but I can see a lot of people being turned off. One thing I do really like, though, is if you're connected to what's called the chiral network, it's this game's equivalent of the internet, other players can lend you their structure. And speaking of, since I'm probably not going to play this game anymore, I'm going to claim well, first I'm going to take everything in my I'm going to take everything in my private locker, and put it in a shared locker for... well, first I guess I gotta load it onto the vehicle, because that's the only place it'll go, unless there's a more expedient way to do it. I'm just gonna dump a load of stuff in a shared locker for whoever wants it. Right, cargo beds, spear in the air, assault rifles, and grenades. Oh, you can have those. I'll do that with some resources as well. I'll claim all of the materials I can. Yeah. But yeah, there's a really nice sense of community that comes with being able to help unseen players like that. Put me in mind of Dark Souls just a little bit. Not that this game is anything like Dark Souls, it's not. But you know, in the sense that the online players can sometimes feel like they're looking out for you, even if they don't know who you are. And, you know, that's really nice. I like that. And, yeah, well, I can't really tell you about what I think of the story much without spoilers, other than it is a very Hideo Kojima story. You either know what that means, or you are blissfully ignorant. Nah, okay. I kind of think the cast that he got that has a little too much emphasis on it. Maybe that's just me because of I was following this for all the development, but I don't see Sam Porter-Bridges and, well, I don't suppose his name is a spoiler, Captain Cliff Unger. I see Norman Reedus and Mads Mikkelsen, respectively. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. I'm like that with actors in other media as well. But, I don't know. The whole thing feels kind of indulgent, and I think that word could sum up this whole game. It's peak Hideo Kojima indulgence. Obviously, there's the Monster Energy drink product placement, but you can later sort of turn that off. If you complete part of the game, you get like an in-game drink instead. So this is the first time I've saw a game with product placement in it where a reward for playing the game is the removal of said product placement. And that's a nice touch. The whole world that he's built is just great. I love it. It's really atmospheric. It almost feels wasted when I'm just driving over the roads there instead of climbing. But I'm also too lazy to go back to climbing around. Zip lines are fun too. The novelty of using the climbing tools like the climbing anchor and the ladders and that stuff to get around wears off pretty fast. But you do get gear to make things easier. And yeah, that does help. Anyway, I am rambling. I probably should have scripted this. The characters are nice, generally speaking, if weirdly named because Kojima. Fragile and Die Hardman are two characters' names. There's also really long monologues that didn't need to be anywhere near as long as they were towards the end. The last couple of hours of the game is just cutscenes, and sometimes I'm like, I wish Hideo Kojima would just make a TV series or something and have done with it. But I like his games, so I don't really mean that 100% sincerely, because there's no one quite like Hideo Kojima, and there is no there was no series quite like Metal Gear. And if you go into Death Stranding hoping for a spiritual successor to Metal Gear, you're not going to get that. You'll be disappointed. Although there are some parts that feel a bit Metal Gear. Like, once you get guns, the combat does feel a bit like Metal Gear. But that's the best you get in that regard. And I'm glad he got to stretch and make the game he wanted to make. And I did end up really enjoying it, despite the fact that I gave up on it early on. Went and played Dragon Ball Z Kakarot instead, and then I came back to it, and I'm glad I did come back to it, because once you get a certain way in, like, say, 10, 12 hours in, depending on how completionist you are, it gets really compelling. The ending isn't affected by how much of a completionist you are, so if you are the type to just go objective to objective and get through the story as quick as possible, that's fine too. That will not impact your experience of the game negatively in any way. There is no bad ending. Although there is the illusion of a choice between alternate endings, but not really. Oh god, that's a spoiler, isn't it? Sorry. Anyway, this is what happens when I don't script my videos. That was Death Stranding. It's pretty good. I hope you found this video enjoyable, or, you know, got something out of it. I'll see you soon.